Hello and welcome to BG Podcast, episode 248. This is A.J. Bingham, founder and CEO of Bingham Group, and joining me is Associate Hannah Garcia.
Hello, everybody.
We will be reviewing the week of April 15th in Austin politics, as well as the week ahead today, April 22nd. So starting with last week, council work session. Big news about the on the 5-year fiscal forecast. Big news, not good news, but I know Hannah, you were there. Just takeaways on that.
My main takeaway is it does not look good for the city in the future. Based on their predictions and calculations over at City Finance, they believe we're going to be in a $13 million deficit going into fiscal year 2025, and that's for a multitude of reasons. One is the sales tax. We had a boom back in 2020, and it didn't stay on track to the trend that we thought it was going to be. Additionally, we're just a growing city and we have bigger costs. And I think one of the biggest things that the City Finance pointed out is that we had a lot of ARPA funds come in around 2020. And it was just this huge, amount of money that kind of, did a lot of great things for the city, a lot for like social services, among other things. But unfortunately, it was a one-time allocation of money. So there's a lot of programs that we currently have that I think we were able to add into the budget that may have to go away or may have to be, rethought. So, not particularly looking good for the city.
I know this upcoming fiscal year, I think they were predicting a $3 million deficit as well. Yes. So it's, both are dire. One, I think, is definitely more extreme, and we'll see. This will also be the first budget cycle for our incoming city manager, T.C. Broadnax. He starts on Monday, May 6th. And I believe the draft budget will be out on July 12th that he and his team will present to the City Council for review. And then over the next several weeks, they'll start the process of public engagement on that with a final budget vote in early mid-August. So it's going to be interesting, right? I think the number, we know it's bad. What that might mean for particular organizations or entities that are funded by the city depends. Right, we've definitely seen impacts of that over the last several years with certain funding allocations that were propped up because of ARPA funds no longer there, and so the devil will be in the details on that. But I kind of prepare for the worst, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think one thing to also note is we have a very action-oriented council, and unfortunately, a lot of the action we as a city need to take requires a lot of capital, and so one of the things that was noted on the presentation from City Finance was that there was 84 council resolutions since June 2022 that are under review for potential fiscal impact, meaning how much is it going to cost. And that's, it's really hard when the city council is doing such great things, for affordable housing, equity, as well as infrastructure and workforce development. So definitely wonder if that's going to kind of push them to slow down or if they're going to keep the same vigor that they've had with policy.
Because the numbers are numbers, and I know Mayor Watson on his newsletter, the Watson Wire, later on last week had put out a note in plain English, greater plain English, about what this means, and so we'll have a link to that in the show notes, as well as a link to the archive footage from last week's work session. It's worth a listen or watch. As well as the agenda backup that was provided to council there. But very important stuff. We say that we try to be judicious when we say what's important, but for those who are council watchers, or for anyone in the city, this is very important. You need to watch that meeting, listen to it, and review the documents as best you can. I'm sure it'll be reported on more. And also, this didn't come out of nowhere. The city staff did present to council in February at a work session, end of February at a work session, had the mid-year or fiscal year about where we were, and they predicted we would be in a fiscal cliff going ahead because of federal funds again drying up. So, shout out to city staff. I think with accounting and those kind of fields, the numbers are the numbers, right? And if you have the money, we don't. And so it's going to come to council and city management on how to best allocate that for FY 24 and 25, and really on, right? It's we'll be watching as always, and we definitely hope y'all will as well, are listening. So with that, other big dates, again, we have the city manager starting officially on May 6th. Council will be back in for work session on April 30th. and then meeting on May 2nd, and we have that agenda up. We'll put that in the show notes. Anything else?
And that city council work session on April 30th was added recently in relationship to the land development code updates that are
that thing, yes. Yeah, I totally forgotten about that brewing.
So tomorrow we're kicking it off with our first added meeting, which is the Joint Housing and Planning, and I believe Mobility Committee as well. They're going to come together and review, basically, the 4 proposed amendments. They'll receive briefings from staff and get to kind of add their 2 cents as well and receive more information. Additionally, we've got 2 more open houses. These are both going to be in person. One of them is going to be Monday, May 6th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Anderson High School. And then later that Wednesday on May 8th, they will have their 4th and final, potentially, open house at George Washington Carver Museum. Same time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Then we've got another council work session, May 14th, and a city council meeting to potentially approve or postpone or completely, not approve these ordinances. So we shall see.
Yeah, and again, we were at the last the joint planning and city council meeting where they took up the 4 LDC amendments. Was that last week, the week prior? It's all flown. Week prior. But again, that was, and we attended both the ones they did last year too, and it seemed just overall crowd size was less than is the first go around with home, especially.
Yeah, I want to say it was at least a third less.
We gauge this usually, informally by how full the parking lot is by 10 o'clock when council comes in, or 9:30. And so if we can find parking spaces, we usually find them. We're like, okay, it's not that packed of a day yet anyway. So, but more to come there. I think we have an exciting few weeks ahead of us. Again, with the city manager starting officially on Monday, May 6th, and all that will be coming with that. One of the things the firm Bingham Group are doing right now is studying the last 7 years of City of Dallas budgets that were under soon-to-be City Manager Broadnax's purview to see and look or analyze for trends there. We'll be sharing that with clients and some of our key stakeholders ahead of time. And then next week, running those in the BG Reads, our daily early morning news blast you should be subscribing to. And also, we are reviewing Mr. Broadnax's, soon-to-be City Manager Broadnax's time in the city of Tacoma, as well as in the city of Dallas when he first started. And these are always based on public articles that were written about him and his time there. So more to come there, but exciting stuff happening in Austin, and we look forward to telling you all about it in the weeks to come.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Take care.